Today we're looking at the top 40 running backs for 2025 fantasy football, and we're going to place them into tiers, discuss the advanced analytics, and strategize for the season. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're covering these players every day. We're covering the rankings. We're doing draft strategies. In season, we're helping you set your lineups. We're looking at the matchups, and we're helping you win the waiver wire, finding those gems, who to pick up, and it's every single day for free. Click that button, stop missing out. Here, you're going to be looking at the pixelated tier list, and we're going to go tier by tier, player by player, telling you who's the best. And we're starting off with the S tier, the stud tier here. We're starting off with Bijan Robinson. He's been a stud running back since high school, 20 points per game last year, getting a lot of work in the passing game, multiple RB1 weeks, never really had a down week where he got less than 10 fantasy points, getting a ton of opportunities per game. He's running a lot of routes, a good target share, getting yards created. He's very efficient. Bijan Robinson is electric. Next in line, coming off the board, Saquon Barkley. Everybody left him for dead last year, but for no reason. He's in the perfect team. He's getting a lot of workload, multiple RB1 weeks, very few weeks where he sucked for you, just like 4 of those. But again, a lot of work, a lot of opportunities. He's also very efficient with the ball in his hands, a lot of breakaway runs, leading the NFL with 25. He's explosive. He's evading tackles. Yards per touch, 4th in the NFL among running backs. He's 4th in the NFL among running backs in true yards per carry. It's hard to make a case to fade Saquon Barkley. Then we're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs. He had 0 games last year where he scored under 10 PPR fantasy points. He's getting a lot of work. He's getting work in the passing game. He's elusive. He's explosive. Jahmyr Gibbs is a safe bet when you look at the context around him, especially when you look at the efficiency metrics. There's not a number that's bad here. The worst one's the dominator rating, but really that's just a measure of the production. Number 1 breakaway runs, tied with Saquon Barkley. 2nd in explosive rating. 4th in evaded tackles. 2nd in yards per touch. 3rd in true yards per carry. 3rd yards created. Down the line, he has been productive. He has been efficient. These are the stud running backs. ADP even says that. First 3 running backs off the board. It's cut and dry. Pick your poison, which one you like. If you want to take one over the other, it's on you. But they're the guys getting drafted high. They're going to get a good receiving profile, getting all the work. The only thing that can really impact them negatively is injuries. But going down here to the next tier, we're looking at tier A. We got a lot of running backs to look at. This is a jacked up tier. There's a lot of talent in here. And a lot of these guys could be in tier S territory when it comes to production. Derrick Henry, safe, stable, getting the workload. Everybody wants to bet against him due to the age, due to the size, due to the workload in the passing game. Derrick Henry always smashes until he won't. So it's hard to bet against him. I've seen someone had him ranked outside of their top 10, their top 12 this year, and they're just trying to find that guy that falls out of the rankings. But until he proves that he's going to do that, you kind of got to look at these numbers and say, yeah, that's Derrick Henry. He only had 1 bad game under 10 PPR fantasy points last season, and he's efficient. 3rd yards per touch, 2nd true yards per carry, number 1 in explosive rating last year, 2nd among carries last season. Not many targets, but we're a key focus in the run game for the Ravens. Next up is Devin Etienne. He is a safe bet, catching the ball out of the backfield, getting a lot of opportunities. The Dolphins were down last year. We saw injuries with Tua. We saw with Waddle a little bit with Tyreek Hill. Devin Etienne was still able to get it done. So if the Dolphins are cooking, what are we going to get? 17.6 points per game last season. Tons of opportunities, but we're getting a lot of work in the passing game. 2nd in target share, almost 18 routes per game. 87 targets on the season, 5 targets a game. That's going to buoy that floor for him. He's safe. He's safe unless he gets hurt, but that's with all running backs because the running back position is the hurt business. Next in line, Christian McCaffrey here in tier A. You got to make your bet whether you're in or out. Christian McCaffrey was hurt most of last season. He's looking good in training camp for now. How many games are going to get out of him? 10, 6, all of them. But when he's on the field, he's a nightmare, and he's going to get you double-digit production. He's going to score in the 20s routinely, and that's what he's going to be. He's getting work in the passing game, though. Even last year in that short run, 16 routes per game. And he's going to continue to do so. You look at the wide receivers there. they're going to lean on him heavy until the wheels fall off. And now you're looking at Ashton Jeanty. Everybody wants the flashy rookie. This year it's Ashton Jeanty, drafted in the first round by the Raiders. They're going to give him a lot of workload. Can you trust that in redraft when you got a lot of good running backs around him at that price tag? But again, 2,600 yards, 29 touchdowns last year. Very good with the ball in his hands. And then it's Jonathan Taylor. He's productive game in and game out. As long as he's healthy and on the field, he's good to go. But he's also got that dynamic ability to break off runs on any given play. He's got speed to burn, and you're looking at 17.6 points per game. He can deliver upside weeks when he's on the field, and he's number one among running backs in opportunity. The offense drives through him, and they just got to hope the quarterback play cooks. And if the quarterback play cooks and you get a full season of Jonathan Taylor, this could be a running back that goes nuclear on you. Now we're going to be looking at Bucky Irving. He went off as a rookie last season. You can't deny that. You can't doubt that. You got some changes to the offensive line, coaching staff, 14.5 points per game, but tremendous vision here. A very electric player that's good in the passing game. Shared some work out of the backfield, but turned it on from weeks 10 to the end of the season. Blew up last season, and you're looking at how efficient he was last year. That's not going to go away. He's a young running back with good vision, incredible patience, and you're looking for another good season out of Bucky Irving. Last but not least, in Tier A, Breece Hall. The Jets offense has to flow through Breece Hall because we know Justin Fields is not an air raid quarterback, so the workload's going to be there for him. But can we stay stable with the quarterback play? Can this offense get right? Because Breece Hall is a very talented runner. Can he stay healthy? 15.3 points per game. The consistency wasn't 100% there, but we did see the upside weeks last season, and we're going to get a lot of work. Probably even more carries this season. We're going to run a lot of routes. We're going to get a lot of opportunities. The offense is just going to flow through Breece Hall. You're seeing a batch of running backs that could be Tier S status. Some of them got some question marks. Previous injuries, maybe a little bit older, maybe quarterback plays a little bit rough, but they also got that talent where they can buoy you in production, give you that RB1 season, week in and week out, giving that good production. But coming back here down the line, we're looking at Tier B. And we got some studs here because we got Chase Brown coming off the board, reliable back in the season. He was money, and we're on the Bengals. You're looking at one of the better values at running back this year. You can go wide receiver, and you might be able to pull off Chase Brown from week 9 to 17, one of the best running backs in fantasy football, productive, double digits every week from week 8 to week 17, most of the season, getting the workload, going to be in a lot of shootouts, going to get a lot of work in the passing game. We saw that last year, but he's also very effective, very elusive, but that work in the passing game will elevate his floor. Next up, Kyren Williams got that money today, got that contract. He caught that bag today, 17.4 points per game, and we've been saying nothing changes unless something changes, and McVay is going to give him the workload until the wheels fall off. You're betting on when the wheels fall off or if it ever does if you're going against him, but he's going to get that workload. And at the price tag in fantasy, it's looking good here for Kyren Williams, and he's getting a good opportunity share. True yards per carry last year was a little bit low. There's some efficiency dichotomies here in his game, but again, you chase workload at the running back position because ultimately the touches is what's going to buoy you in fantasy production. Now we're looking at Marion Hampton, that rookie that's got a ton of upside. He's a little bit cheaper than Ashton Jeanty, but has just about as much upside, speed to burn with the size to go with it, with an offense that can buoy his production. And Marion Hampton, first-round running back in a tremendous situation here, 4.46 speed. We could see him tear it up this year. Next up, James Cook racked up the touchdowns last season. He scored a lot of touchdowns last year. Don't know if that's going to carry over to this year, but he gets a lot of work. He's on a team that can move the football. There's some games where they really lean on the run. They really lean on James Cook. That could potentially happen in a lot of matchups here. 18 total touchdowns last year, second among running backs. 43 evaded tackles. There's some efficiency dichotomies versus the fantasy production here that you need to be aware of, but he's also a little bit cheaper down the draft board where you can catch him at a little bit of a discount. And next, Josh Jacobs coming off the board here. He's not sexy. People don't like drafting him, but he scores fantasy points. Only one game with less than 10 PPR fantasy points last year. He's at an okay price tag if you want to stack wide receivers at the start of your draft and still get a dependable running back. He's on an offense that moves the chains. He's rather safe. He's a 2-condom on draft pick, but still can get it done for you. He's kind of efficient still, even though he ranks 26th in true yards per carry, but he's 10th in juke rate, 2nd in evaded tackles, so he's still making guys miss. So he's not dead yet. He's still on the field, even though people don't like to talk him up as much. Not a lot of work in the passing game, but he is the runner that fuels this offense. There's a lot of upside plays here still left on the board that we're looking at in Tier B, though. These guys are your high-end RB2s. They could be your RB1, and if you are, you're jacked up a wide receiver, and you're doing a certain build there. But you're looking at what's left on the board. There's still some talent to look at as you come here down to Tier C, and we're getting with Chuba Hubbard, first back off the board. If you're looking at dependability at a discount, Chuba Hubbard could be it this year. Panthers might be on the come up. They might be glowing up this year. Chuba could be a part of that. 16.5 points per game, multiple RB1 weeks. Rico's there. The Rico and Chuba TV series needs to come out. 20.3 opportunities a game last year. That could reduce a little bit. They do want to use 2 running backs, but he was hella efficient last season. Also ran a lot of routes, good in the passing game. He's a safe running back. His floor is solid. His upside might get hit a little bit with Rico, but he's solid, he's safe, and people need to start looking at him in drafts. Then you take another look and you're seeing Kenneth Walker. If he could stay healthy for a full season, everybody be on the Walker train, but Kenneth Walker is explosive, can score a lot of fantasy points on any given touch, on any given game, really. 16.5 points last season, but was getting a lot of run in the passing game last year. Buoys his floor, buoys his upside, has 4.3 speed, very explosive. Now you're betting on whether or not he can play a full season. But another vet is here, Alvin Kamara. Father Time is looking at Alvin Kamara in the face and saying, not right now. I want to watch you cook some more. And maybe again this year. 19 points per game last season. Only one game under 10 PPR fantasy points. He's out there in training camp looking good, safe, stable every single year. You got to bet against Father Time until he tells you not to, really, with him, because he's efficient but getting so much work in the passing game that you cannot ignore Alvin Kamara. But the veterans keep coming. James Conner coming off the board here. Every year people bet against James Conner, and every year he's cheap in drafts, and every year he gives you steady production. A few down games last year, but for the price, and for the price you're getting him now, that's solid. Multiple RB1 weeks, top end RB2 weeks at a good price tag could be a good RB2 for you in fantasy. You're also looking at the work, and he's also being very efficient. And the fact that he's being efficient means that there's no signs that he's going to fall off unless Father Time decides to throw an injury at him or something else happens that's outside of control for James Conner. And now you're looking at another one with David Montgomery. He's a key factor for the Detroit Lions. Upside every game, getting a lot of work, especially in the red zone. We look at Jahmyr Gibbs as being the guy, but Monty gets his moments as well. It could end up being more volatile down the line this season because he is getting older, but still he's in that dead zone area when you're looking at the running backs. From looking historically at him and his usage in this offense, he's a guy that will give you some safe production. Not 100% efficient, but that workload in the red zone is what's going to buoy your fantasy results anyways. And he's 13th among running backs while sharing the backfield with one of the best running backs in the league. But now we're hitting that rookie territory where we got a lot of upside to look at. RJ Harvey, who I'm drafting ahead of some of these veterans. I'm drafting ahead of these veterans. He's moving up the board for me. I'm drafting him all over the place. I'm drafting him more than a lot of guys in this tier even. RJ Harvey is growing on me by the week. He's very explosive, good vision on a team that's on the come up. He's going to finish as the team's RB1, and he is a wrecking ball. He's going to be a wrecking ball in fantasy. 4.4 speed, profiles like Chase Brown. good production to his name from college. I'm just going to shoot for that upside. And now I'm looking at Trevion Henderson, former 5-star recruit out of high school, can catch the ball out of the backfield, very electric in space. Drake May's going to like him. He's going to share some work out of the backfield, but we're going to know week 1 whether or not he's going to be explosive right out of the gates or not. But this is a running back in the top of the dead zone that I don't want to ignore either. I want some shares. I want to be able to have him on some of my rosters because that speed is real and the ability to catch a ball out of the backfield. It's going to tend to the upside along with giving him a solid floor. I'm looking at Caleb Johnson. Jalen Warren's going to start off the starter, but we know how this story is going to end with Caleb Johnson being the guy for the Steelers, getting touch after touch, target after target out of the backfield, just getting rammed up the gut here. And he's a guy in the dead zone where you either go with the veterans or you chase one of these rookies, and you have to be able to be in position where you can wait on him during that rookie ramp up. If you can't, don't get him. But if you can, you understand what kind of asset you're getting here, a running back that could go nuclear back into the season, but you're going to have to wait more than likely from what we're reading from the tea leaves, then you know what you need to do. But he's got good vision. He's got good power. Solid at Iowa. He was the whole offense. Eventually, he's going to get a lot of touches here in Pittsburgh. And now, adding into the list, DeAndre Swift could be getting some extra work this season. He's one of those explosive players when used in the passing game, can go off for you. 4 RB1 weeks. They upgraded the offensive line. New offensive coordinator. He's looking good in training camp, being explosive in space. DeAndre Swift could be the sneaky play in this year's draft, but I also see him being very volatile. But if you're looking for somebody in the middle of the dead zone that has that volatility to give you some spike weeks, then you're looking at DeAndre Swift. But that work in the passing game should remain and should be elevated. Ben Johnson might be looking at him as is Jahmyr Gibbs. He's worked with him before, knows how good he is in the passing game, and he's going to be bailing out Caleb Williams. They're at the top of the dead zone this year. You look at ADP, they're at the top of the dead zone. Now you're looking at those rookies. I like RJ Harvey, and I'm probably taking them at the top of the tier, honestly. I'm taking them ahead. Like right now, I'm taking them ahead of those guys, and I'm moving them up the board, and I'm getting higher and higher on him by the week. But you come down here to this next tier, you want to take a look, tier D, and I'm starting to build some feelings here. Isaiah Pacheco, I'm feeling pretty strong about him. Like he may be bumping up to tier C. He's turning into one of my guys. I'm going to bump him up the ranking some more. As I keep putting these together, I look at Isaiah Pacheco, I look at the training camp clips. He's looking explosive, coming back healthy on a team that's explosive. And you just look at what he's done before, and he's just steady, solid, good production, super cheap in drafts. But next is Tony Pollard. He's steady. He's productive. He's a solid RB2 week to week. Nobody's talking him up, but Tony Pollard has got a new quarterback, more talent at the quarterback position, might be better this year, going to share more work with Tajay Spears per the coaching staff, but looking at him, he's solid, 12.8 points per game. He's not going to get you a lot of RB1 weeks, maybe a few here and there, maybe 2, 3, 4, but he's going to be solid week in and week out. You can get your hero RB, stack up at wide receiver, get you a Tony Pollard. You're safe. You might be drafting with 2 condoms on here, but you're not going to get pregnant. He's getting a lot of workload. He's safe week to week. Only thing you got to worry about is injury like any other running back. Now we're looking at Aaron Jones, who's always been steady and productive, but you know he's getting older. A lot of people want to fade Aaron Jones. I'm not hearing anybody talk him up. You're looking at the roster, the new quarterback, but he's a good, solid running back that's a foundation to this team. He's going to get work and opportunities. I imagine he's going to score double digits every week like he did last year. He did that every game but 2 last year. So the wheels haven't fallen off completely yet. He's still functional for fantasy football. He's still cheap. He's getting faded in drafts. And you're looking at the carries. He got a lot of work last year. He got a lot of work in the passing game. This could be a sleeper if you're money-balling running backs later in your drafts. Travis Etienne, can we get right? We got to see if he gets right. A couple years ago, he was one of the best running backs in football and fantasy. Now he looks like he's dudding out, and it looks like he's going to share the backfield with Tank Bigsby again. But can we get right, or is it going to look like last year? We were dealing with injuries, but it wasn't starting off super hot last year either. Can we get back to being an RB1? Or is this going to be an offense where they're searching for their next running back We weren't horribly efficient last year, but we're still getting work in the passing game. We're working with the ones in training camp. Maybe we get right. Brian Thomas Jr. What's going to happen with him this season? He's a safe, functional running back. If you're drafting with a couple condoms on, you don't want to get pregnant in this draft, here you go. He's going to get you a bunch of RB2 weeks, a couple RB1 weeks, a few downer games in there, but he's going to get a lot of touches. He will get banged up. We see that. We saw that last year. There's gaps in his production profile, but he's a stable running back that gets a lot of work, a lot of touches, and a lot of red zone looks. Down the board, Joe Mixon. Injuries are eating him up right now. I'm down on him this year because he's been out of training camp. We do not know what we're going to get. Nick Chubb's looking solid. Nick Chubb could be getting most of the work. And Joe Mixon coming back in. It could be a 50-50, 60-40 split. And that's going to hurt his fantasy production. He wasn't efficient last year, but he was top 5 in opportunity among running backs. So when you're not efficient and now you're not top 5 anymore when it comes to opportunity, that's going to kill your fantasy production. But looking at these running backs, you got some talent on the board. Now I like Isaiah Pacheco. He's gaining steam with me like by the minutes. So I'm going to jump him up another tier very soon. I'm going to jump up there. He's gaining steam with me by the minute. He should have been up there. But coming down here, there might be some guys I'm going to jump up. That's why you need to pay attention and not just watch the pictures. Next up, tier E, Cam Scatterbo. Tons of upside. Tons of upside here. Dealing with a hamstring. If it wasn't for that, and from what we've been seeing, he might be in tier D. But we're going to watch, and maybe next time he's going to be up there. Once I get deeper into drafts, I chase rookies. I chase upside. I go after lottery tickets. He's dealing with a hamstring injury right now. But again, we saw him reel off some runs. Scatterbo's a guy that could come on hard at the end of the season. Tyrone Tracy coming off the board, looking explosive in training camp. Don't forget about Tyrone Tracy here. He's very explosive. He's looking explosive in training camp. And Scatterbo, like I said, is dealing with a hamstring. This could be his backfield. He could have moments. These guys could just feed off each other throughout the season. He's going to get work in the passing game. He's very efficient, but he's very good in the open field. Zach Charbonnet gets it done when he gets the opportunity. When given the opportunity, when Kenneth Walker's out, Zach Charbonnet is good for fantasy football. He gets opportunities in the passing game. He's good up the gut. He's very safe, very productive out of college at UCLA in Michigan. And this is a running back prospect here that when given the opportunity, he kills it. He does well, and he's efficient with the ball in his hand. 10th among running backs, yards created per touch. 2nd in routes ran per game when he's a starter. 17.9, almost 18 routes per game, getting that workload and opportunities, and that's what you want out of running backs. Ramondre Stevenson could be sneaking workload this year, might be steady, more dependent for fantasy football than realized. Stevenson's being slept on due to Trevion Henderson, but that makes sense. However, he's going to be sharing the backfield. He's going to be getting opportunities. He's going to be getting the gritty work. He might still get you some RB1 weeks this year. More than likely going to be a very volatile option for fantasy football, but he's super cheap. Could be paired well with Trevion Henderson if you're paying up for that. I don't suggest stacking Patriots running backs, but you do you. Not efficient last year, but he's also good in the passing game, and he's also good getting that gritty work, short yardage, and goal line. Jordan Mason's been looking good in training camp. He's looking good in training camp this year, looking good at Vikings Fest the other night. Mason's explosive, gelling well with this offensive line. I would not be surprised if he comes in this year and has some good weeks, has a good series of games and a good run this season. Efficient, 7 to 2 yards per carry. If he gets the opportunity, he could blast off with this offense. Rachaad White has the potential to be a huge value this year in drafts. You're looking at cheap production with Rachaad White, and you're catching him in double-digit rounds. An easy pickup here. He's not efficient with the ball in his hands. He never was, but he gets a lot of work in the passing game, giving him a good floor and a good round out to your running back depth chart. Trey Benson is a no-loss proposition. If something happens to James Conner, you're going to want him. And there's a good spread between those two running backs in ADP. The ultimate upside dandy here. If something happens to James Conner, you're going to want Trey Benson. Everybody's going to want him and flock to the waiver wire if James Conner ever misses like 2, 3, or more games because he's explosive, proven that he can be productive in fantasy. And you're looking at a young running back here with good size, 4.3 speed, that can be a focal point of the offense. You can gamble on youth here, or you can take those veterans that can give you a little bit of production to get you by, to round out your depth chart. Maybe you're light at running back and you got to make that decision. Or you're very stacked at running back and maybe you got to go with those rookies so you can get some upside in the back end of your bench. However you do it, but there's a fork in the road there. But we're going to keep seeing forks in the road here as we're going down the rankings. Top of tier F, J.K. Dobbins. Getting some work, probably going to be the Mark Ingram of this offense. You're looking at Sean Payton's Mark Ingram here. R.J. Harvey is going to be Alvin Kamara. J.K. Dobbins is going to get some work. He's the safe veteran in this backfield to look at here. He's not going to get you 14.8 points per game, but he is going to be out in the field. He will be functional for fantasy football in some weeks. Yards created per touch. Not horribly efficient last year, but he has shown the ability to break off large runs. Najee Harris, he'll eventually be back. He'll get workload on the Chargers offense. Probably not enough for him to be a big-time asset, but enough to get you by. We got to see what he looks like when he gets back, but Najee Harris is not out there in training camp. He's starting to ramp up. I imagine at the end of training camp, he'll be back out there on the field. This is a Marion Hampton's backfield, but he would be a good contingency plan on the back end of your bench if you're looking at a stable veteran and you don't want to shoot for upside with rookies. Last year wasn't horribly efficient, but again, we're looking at a running back here that's going to be sharing the backfield with a rookie. Ray Davis coming off the board. If James Cook goes down, he's going off. If something happens to James, Ray Davis is going to go ham. He did that a little bit last year, topping out 18.2 points. Hit 17, 13, 14, and 11 in a game. That's 5 RB2 weeks. He can be productive. Just give him the opportunity. Let him shine because he will. He's got good vision. He's good between the tackles. Had fumbleitis last year in training camp. That slowed down the start of his season. You might see him pop up this year. Tajay Spears. We flirt with him every year. He always has a couple boom weeks. Word on the street, Tajay Spears getting more opportunities this year. They're going to slow down Tony Pollard a little bit. Keep both these running backs healthy. When Tajay Spears gets opportunities, he cashes. Weeks 15, 16, 17. He cashed. He did it the year prior a little bit with Derrick Henry. He's good in the passing game. He's got good vision. He can shred defenses. He might cook a little bit. Jaylen Warren is going to be the starter for the Steelers, but for how long? That's the thing. But he's dependable, but doesn't have much upside for fantasy. This is a slow-paced offense. They're going to be using 2 running backs here. He might get you 9 to 10 fantasy points per game. You're drafting with 2 to 3 condoms on when you're drafting Jaylen Warren here. You may want to go with some other upside plays, though. Isaac Rondo has upside in that 4.3 speed. Something happens to Christian McCaffrey, you're going to want him. Condoms are off when you're drafting with Isaac Rondo. Tremendous upside. If you have Christian McCaffrey, you got to get Rondo. 4.3 speed, he's electric, can go off, get you an RB1 week with just 1 or 2 touches out of that game. And you saw that last year, 6 in yards per touch. Very explosive running back prospect. Austin Eckler is one of those dependable veterans that can round out your depth chart. He's good in the passing game, veteran running back, tail end of his career, but he can round out your running back depth chart, can be safe for you week to week, especially if you're weak at running back and heavy at wide receiver. That's something you can look at. Yards created per touch, yards per touch. Didn't realize he was that high on those numbers, but he can be efficient. He's just a workhorse veteran running back that you're just waiting to go down. But again, when he's out on the field, he's solid. Jaden Blue is the ultimate upside play. He's tearing up training camp. It's a matter of time before he's going to get his opportunity. He's looking good in the open field. He's showing that 4.3 speed. He's electric. And this backfield is ambiguous, and you want to chase ambiguous backfields. Whoever's not listed, just pick them up whenever you want. Once you get like 30 down the board, really it's whoever you want at whatever given price. However, make sure you're stacked up in the back end of your drafts, getting those lottery ticket running backs. We got a lot of them this season. That way you got the upside plays chilling on the back end of your roster. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.